che comunque il calcio è imprevedibile e le cose non sono mai scontate, quindi è anche la bellezza, no, di questo sport.
Io rappresentavo per questa squadra, era quello che non mollava mai, quello che doveva fare stare sempre sul morale, ma io mi ci trovavo bene perché sono sempre stato uno che mi piaceva dare fuoco ai miei compagni, caricarli prima delle partite.
Il mio sogno che si è avverato è uno dei sogni dei bambini, di tanti bambini.
Il gol è un qualcosa per la gente che riusciamo a fare diventare matti, riusciamo a fare diventare felici e contenti.
Con questa maglia devo veramente fare una performance diversa perché sto rappresentando uno dei club più grandi al mondo.
Desde el primer día en que te vi, mi alma entregada, mi vida por ti. Te vi levantar copas, soñé con tu gloria y en cada partido escribí nuestra historia. Pero algo cambió en este camino, la esperanza se fue, ya no es lo mismo. Red llegó y mi alma se quema, ¿por qué destruir lo que amamos? ¿Qué problema? Milán en mi corazón, te llevo en mi pecho, en cada rincón, pero este dolor me consume por dentro. Red, ¿por qué nos robas el aliento? Tus colores, mi vida, mi pasión, rojo y negro eres mi razón. Recuerdo los días de gloria, de fuego, pero ahora todo es frío. ¿Qué vamos a hacer luego? La historia de un club tan grande como el tuyo no merece caer en este diluvio. La mano de Red nos aprieta el alma y nuestra esperanza ya no tiene calma. Milán en mi corazón, te llevo en mi pecho, en cada rincón, pero este dolor me consume por dentro. Red, ¿por qué nos robas el aliento? Tus colores, mi vida, mi pasión, rojo y negro eres mi razón. Recuerdo los días de gloria, de fuego, pero ahora todo es frío. ¿Qué vamos a hacer luego? La historia de un club tan grande como el tuyo no merece caer en este diluvio. La mano de Red nos aprieta el alma y nuestra esperanza ya no tiene calma. Milán en mi corazón, te llevo en mi pecho, en cada rincón, pero este dolor me consume por dentro. Red, ¿por qué nos robas el aliento? Milán, te seguiré aunque el viento me haga daño. Te amaré por siempre con todo mi desengaño. Red, ya basta, no destruyas mi amor. Que el Milán vuelva a ser lo que siempre fue mi honor.
Milan fans, Milan Nation. I'm your host, Nico, and I'm back with a bonus pod on the Milanista report. How's everybody doing today on a Sunday? Hope everybody's well. I'm sure some of you caught the last few games, friendly games that Milan played, right? Obviously. But most importantly, I wanted to dive in today, expand on what Lab talked about on his pod. If you haven't caught it, it's in Italian. He kind of broke down Milanismo and the differences between some of the podcasts, especially the ones in North America, the way, and some podcasts, English-speaking podcasts overseas as well, right? In Europe, right? That tend to favor Redbird for a lot of different reasons. And I just wanted to expand on that. All right. So let's get into it. Let me get this going and we'll kick it off. Hey, Fadinho, good seeing you again. What's happening, Fadinho? All right, let's bring up this. What is Milanismo? So let's kind of change this up a little bit, see if we can. All right, forget it. Never mind. What is Milanismo? So technically what Milanismo is, right, what it really is, it encompasses embracing the history of the club, the traditions, the cultural impact it has in Serie A, but not just in Serie A, but in European football as a whole. The history of Milan, the DNA of competing in the Champions League, not just getting in, not just qualifying, and not being driven to actually try to go to the finals and win a title and bring it back to Milan and add it to his trophies, but actually win it. Not for financial reasons, yeah, that's a bonus, but for the sporting aspect of the sport. And also having a strong Italian core, especially defensively. Right? That's part of the history of this club since the beginning of time. We've had a strong Italian core, especially in the back. We play like Baresi, Maldini. Those two names specifically that most people know. And also giving youth players a chance. Maldini was given a chance years ago. Baresi too, he was undersized. He was given a chance to come up. You know, things have changed in Serie A in the last few years, 8 to 10 years, and not giving youth players a chance, especially in the big clubs like Juve, Milan, Inter, numerous other clubs are kind of tending to shy away from those reasons for financial reasons because of the, certain things that Italy has done to promote to getting foreign players for financial reasons, right? For tax breaks or whatever the case may be. So, but in today's Milan, and none of these traits of what Milanismo is, things like history, respecting the history, respecting the traditions, respecting the cultural impact it has, respecting past players, and not just using them for tools to advertise, to promote what you're trying to sell the fan base today. None of that is happening. We're not seeing that in any case since Redbird has taken over the reins. And instead of that, we're seeing this very Americanized type of sports management that we see in the NFL, that we see in baseball, and in some other European clubs that are being taken over by Americans lately. Yes, they have the cash, I understand that. But when you come to a club like Milan, you need to understand what Milanismo is. And respect that from day one. And as we know, Jerry didn't respect it. He didn't know how much Champions League we won. Called us during his speeches, when he was first talking about purchasing in clubs, he didn't even talked about buying a mid-table team. All right. And this is what he thought he was buying when Milan. He didn't understand what Milan means to the city of Milan, to its fans that had been following the club for ages, what it means to Calcio, what it means to the Azzurri in terms of having players to supply the Azzurri team with players for international tournaments, and then in that case, get him to qualify to the World Cup. Because you see it right now, the Azzurri have, how many Milan players do we actually have on that team? Sometimes Gabi is the only one that's been called up here and there. 0. And look at what the club is now. Look at the players that we're getting. I'm not saying these are some quality players that Milan has picked up, like Pulisic. All right. Tijani was a quality player, even though he didn't fit into the system. But at the end of the day, there were players that were available that Milan could have gotten in previous seasons under Redbird and in today's market. And let's not even talk about Tonali. That's a whole different story as well. Because we really didn't have to sell him at the end of the day. We could have funded the Mercado different ways instead of getting rid of him. And added key pieces to that team to support the midfield surrounding Tonali. That didn't happen either. Instead, we got Loftus-Cheeks. We picked up Musa. Musa's midfielders. And most importantly, they don't encompass what Milanismo is. And other players who encompass those traits, have been let go, have never given me a chance to even play on this team, to even compete for a starting position or even a second spot. Players like Camarda, Simic, Zaroli, Liberali, most likely as well. Because as we know, if you read the reports, him and Ibra's relationship is terrible. He doesn't trust Ibra at all. But most likely he'll be gone too. So everybody in the chat, I see there's about 5 or 6 people right now. You tell me what Milanismo means to you. And do you see those traits that I just spoke about? Traditions, history, cultural impact. Are you seeing that? Because I don't. And that's why I don't support this current project since day one. From day one, they showed their true colors of what they wanted to do with this club. To strip all those traits away. Every single one of those traits. Strip them, rip them, throw them out. It all started with Maldini. The way they treated him. Yeah, I get it. They didn't get along, but the way he was treated was disgusting. And then we had, when we had the anniversary, Maldini didn't show up. And some fans got upset at him. Well, he had a right to not show up either. Because he saw what the club is doing, what the management is doing, more importantly. And also, things that go back to what Lab kind of touched on his latest pod. We're seeing certain podcasts. I'm not going to name one. I'm not going to get into that whole thing like last year where we got into some beef with certain podcasts. We're not doing it this year. Myself and the rest of the hosts here at Milanista 360, Lab, Shane, Husney, we're not getting involved in that. But there's certain podcasters out there who time and time again, they find a way to support this management, to support this project. They might, sometimes they'll go against them. They'll say something and call them out on certain things, but overall they don't do it. Because in some cases they might not want to break ties with the club, break their relationship, and impact on the reporting or what inside sources they're getting, whatever the case is. But at the same time, they're doing a disservice to all their subscribers, everybody listen to their shows. Because when they tune into these podcasts and they say, oh, this is good business, this is a good signing, this is great, this new signing from Pervi, Esteban is great, he's a good signing for the club. or the fact that, this player was a good signing, or what, getting rid of Kamada and getting rid of Zaroli, and then, oh, it's good that we're giving him an opportunity to go start somewhere else. It's actually doing him a service. It's not. And you're not doing us any service to your subscribers, to the people that tune into your show week in and week out. Because you're giving them the impression, and you're teaching, especially new fans, people who are just becoming Milanisti, who are becoming Milan fans, that are following the club for whatever reason it is. You're giving them the idea, you're putting it in their heads, kind of, that what Redbird is doing, what Furlani's doing, what Ibra's doing, what Moncada's doing is fine. It's for the best interest of the club. That what they're doing is the best thing for the club. They want to win. And more importantly than that, this is what Milanismo is today. The Yankee logo, playing games in Yankee Stadium, celebrating little trophies here and there when you beat, Inter during the season. That's great. Or winning these insignificant trophies during the season, like we did last year. Like, those are big goals. They're not. We shouldn't be celebrating those. Yeah, we should be happy that we're winning these games, that we beat Inter in the derby. Yeah, but overall, that's not what Milan means. And then in addition, you have the North American clubs. I'm not going to name them. I've done them in the past. But the big ones that kind of go around the same lines. They support Redbird management publicly. I'm sure there's individual members that don't like management. They hate them to their core, just like myself and other Milanistas. But publicly speaking, these big North American Milan fan clubs, and some overseas as well, not just North America, they've built these relationships with the ownership over years in order to receive certain perks, getting certain players to come over to visit them, like Bedesi, like Ibra, to host these events at their local bars, to have signed shirts, to give these fundraisers, donations, which is all good things. And you're donating it to local football clubs for underprivileged kids. But at the same time, what they're also doing as well, these North American clubs, by showing their love and support to management, especially current management, regardless of what they're doing to the club's Milanismo, tearing that to shreds. They're also teaching new Milan fans, young, old, whatever the case is, that this is what Milanismo is. What you're seeing today, and this is expected, this is acceptable, this is okay, and it's not. And I understand why they're not doing it publicly, why they're not calling out management publicly, why they're not calling out Ibra publicly, why they rush to the airport and take pictures with Ibra at JFK like he's some rock star, because they don't want to break their relationship with ownership. They don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. And personally, I think that's wrong as well. Because if you're really about promoting what Milan is, and you say that I've been we're all Milan fans since we were kids, and we grew up watching Milan since the 80s, whatever the case is, through my grandfather, my parents, or whatever the case is. You should know what it should mean, Milanismo. And you should be teaching that to your fans, your fan base, to the people the membership, the people that go to your bar every Saturday, every Sunday during the week to watch the games with you. You should keep pushing this in their heads time and time again to understand it and to push back against management. Not just accepting what this is today. and saying, yeah, it's fine. What are we going to do about it? Yes, we should be pushing back time and time again. By not buying tickets, by not buying merch. I know there's some people, even in our own chats, buy merch, and so be it. Whatever the case is, that's fine. But overall, we should be protesting in whatever means we can to show our distaste, our anger towards this ownership, for Lonnie and Ibra and everybody else involved. That's what you should be doing. Instead of just saying, well, yeah, it is what it is. Ownership is here. What are we going to do about it? But at the same time, personally for me, there's only one way that I could see myself falling back, actually supporting this current project. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But first thing would be getting rid of Furlani. Well, Furlani's going to stay. Getting rid of Ibra and Moncada. And Scaroni. Get rid of them completely. They have done nothing to help anything. Jerry's going to stay. I don't see Jerry selling the club anytime soon. So he's got to stay. But I do like the fact that they got Allegri for the time being to kind of resolve the defensive issues. The staff that he selected, that I covered on yesterday's show, all defensive-minded coaches. All right? But most importantly, the thing I would have loved to see happen, instead of signing all these random players on the club that make no sense at all, they don't fit the pieces together to build a competing team, to compete for the Scudetto. So get that out of your minds. We're not competing for any Scudetto. If we finish top 4, all right, whatever, that's the goal. But it's not good enough. What I would have liked to see, and bring myself back to supporting this project, is we should have kept Simic. We got Simic, we had Gabia and Chow. No need for Pavlovic. Useless. In so many ways. Kept Tonali in the midfield. Giving Zaroli a real chance instead of bringing Musa to this team. Giving Liberali a real chance. Having Kamada as your second striker. Giving Torriani either the third slot as a keeper or the second slot. And not just, he's going to disappear as well, most likely. Last year, he impressed the coaching staff during preseason. Again, and what happened last season? He disappeared. And he's doing the same thing again this season with Allegri, impressing them. Those are the things I would like to have to see with this club. And those things were done, which are not going to be done. Because most of those kids I just mentioned, they're not with the club at this time. They've been loaned out or sold permanently. And that hurts. That really hurts. Seeing those kids that love this club to its core, that encompass those traits that I just talked about. They know the history, the traditions, the cultural impact of this club. And they're just thrown away. And we have some fans saying, oh, it's better for them that they're not here. They were never given a chance. That's okay that we loaned them out. Let's give them an option to buy them back. They're getting minutes. No, they should be with the club under the right circumstances. And if ownership respected what Milanismo really means, not this new Milanismo with this BS Americanized version of it, this McDonald's Disneyfied version of it. if they respected those things, those kids should be on the team and growing with the team, becoming starters at some point. Maybe one or two of them being sold for a good profit. But the ones that deserve to, that really earn their spot, should be on this club and become future stars of this club and representing their national teams, representing the Azzurri. Going into Champions League again and showing the world again, the European stage, the whole world, that Milanismo is back. Real Milanismo. Scaring opponents, competing for Scudettos year in, year out. You know, you're not going to win them all every year. Even the year that I really fell in love with this club, really 2006, they finished in 4th place. But they were competing. They wanted to win the Scudetto. And what happened in 2007? They went back into the Champions League final against Liverpool in Athena. And they got their revenge. So I understand realistically this might be some years you finish 4th place. But to have the ambition just to finish 4th and be okay with it, to embrace it in some cases, it's not the right thing to do at all, by any means. Because that's disrespecting the whole past. All the players that came before you're disrespecting their honor, their history, what they've done for the club. So I'm just going to pop up the chat here for a minute. So I see Shane's here too. What's up, Shane? Shane, Fadinho, who else is tuned into this live, let me know. What does Milanismo mean to you? And I know your answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What does today's Milan represent those traits? And any means. Because for me, nothing. Not even an ounce of it. Not even a shred of Milanismo is on this current project. That's heartbreaking. To be a fan of a club for how long I've been, and so I'm sure Shane's been a fan much longer. I don't know how long Fadinho's been a fan. And I know some other people in our chats have been fans way longer than me, over 30 years. Maybe longer too. Maybe since they were like the day they were born, I don't know. Since they were old enough to watch professional sports. Still a lot of time to dedicate your life to one club. And understanding what Milan is, what it means, what Milanismo means to its core. Real, true Milanismo. And to see that within overnight, that being destroyed completely. That's depressing. I know we try to have a good time. We try to be upbeat. We have Gabbia, Shane, and Ricci. That's it. But again, that's not an Italian core. And I don't. And Gabbia's not even getting the love. Most people disrespect Gabbia and think Chow and Pavlovic is the best pair. It's not. We've been over this a million times. I've done in-depth analysis. I've showed stats, eye test, all, you name it. I've had Nathan on the show in the past. We've gone into this. And time again, we've shown that Gabbia is the most complete center back that we have. He's not an all-star. He's not a world beater. Doesn't have the aura that Nesta had, or the aura that Baresi had, or you name it. Or even the aura that, Calafiori or Scalvini. But he's one of our best center backs that we have. And he doesn't get the love and respect. And you have Ricci too. We'll see about him. I don't know how long he's going to stay with the club. I'm sure once his value goes up and they get an offer from him, from an EPL team or some other team out of the country, they'll sell him right away. They won't even blink an eye. So don't get too attached to these players. I can't anymore. I haven't been attached to any player in a long time, to be honest. That's just me. So yeah, that's all I have. That's really the reason I wanted to dive in, get the bonus pod out today. Expand on what John had spoken about yesterday on his pod, which is a good pod. Excellent pod. It's been, if it's all in Italian, but you can, it's been translated into English as well from YouTube, so you can dive into it and see what he said in English and get a full context of what he was getting into. And I just kind of briefly discussed that today. We got a new person here, Dr. B. Ciao ragazzi. Milanismo for me is when I finished school in 2002. We were relevant because of our success on the pitch. Yeah, so you've been around for a while. Dr. B, thanks for tuning in, staying locked in. Dr. B, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in joining our WhatsApp chat, our good group of guys, all diehard Milanisti. Just hit us up on myself or Milanist360 on Instagram or X, Twitter, whatever you have on socials. We'll send you an invite. All right, Fadinho. Milanismo means passion for the game and jersey, a sense of belonging and pride. Being a Milanisti comes with culture, respect, understanding, etc. Always focusing on winning the Scudetto and CL. Yes, Fadinho. Bang on. That's what Milanismo is. Not putting something together with the Yankees. Collaborating with the Yankees and putting some disgusting logo out. It looks like some second-grader designs. That's not Milanismo. And Shane, yes, the minute Maldini was let go. So one thing about Maldini as well, real quick. I know on Rosaneri TV, Roy, he touched on it a couple times. To his credit, not too many people have. I know Maldini made mistakes. Like any sporting director, you're going to make some mistakes. Some players are going to pan out. Some players will. That's just the law of averages. You're not going to hit on every play that you get. In some cases, he was forced his hand in terms of what he could spend. But in terms of what, like, even Origi, everybody keeps going to back. Origi, he messed up on Origi. Origi wasn't that bad in Liverpool. He was a good bench player that Klopp trusted for late games to score goals. He wasn't some bum, by the way, some unknown player, the French league or something. He's a decent player. He didn't pan out. So be it. But what Maldini brought to the table was mentoring these players. He mentored players like Theo, Tonali, players that looked up to him. He brought a sense of culture, sense of pride, not just to the locker room, but also to the training sessions. He showed up because he cared about the players' well-being. And when you have that kind of aura, you have that kind of history with the club, and you've won so many goddamn championships, so many goddamn rings, so many trophies. People are gonna look up to you. and say, I want to be like you. Teach me. What can you tell me about being a professional player? But instead, they got rid of him. All right, so be it. And then you had Ibra take his place in a regard. Ibra was at his time, he was a nice player, not a just generational player. He was nice. He kind of helped the locker room during the Scudetto winning season. All right, he motivated that team, to his credit. But the minute he became Redbird's puppet, because that's what he was, and he still is. Where was he during? He doesn't have the same impact off the field with these players. He doesn't care about that. Because at heart, he's a Redbird employee. And instead of being at the training sessions, where was he? He's vacationing. He's doing stupid videos with Speed. He did it. It was a recent video that got leaked out recently with Speed with somebody else, and Ibra got upset that Speed was ignoring his text messages, which is retarded. He was like a 13-year-old girl, like a teenage girl, upset that she got ghosted with some guy. That's embarrassing, and players see that and go, "This is who's representing the club. This fool, this guy's and we're supposed to listen to him and take advice from this guy who's more concerned about his social media rep than actually about the club and the players." Come on. What's up, Senior Green? Good to see you again. Dr. B, good to be here, guys. I'm now nearly 40. You're near where I'm 48, so you're in the same age group. I'm taking my boys to Stamford Bridge on the 10th of August, complete with our own Tifu to represent Forza. Don't get me on. Hey, awesome. That's great. Listen, Dr. B, and I'm sure you're raising your kids the right way, teaching them what Milanismo means, what it stands for, and what our expectations should be as a fan base. Not what some podcasts are presenting and passing it over to their listeners, and what some of these North American and other fan clubs are doing, and how they're representing what Milanismo is to their memberships, their members. All right, Maldini's mistake, if any, did not impact the club as a whole. Yeah, he did. He managed to win the Scudetto and reach CL semifinals on a low budget. Now let's compare Fulani's mistake and how it impacts the club. Yeah, it's night and day for Fadinho, come on. And also with Fulani, right? Does he have the same impact with the players? No, he never played the game. For one, doesn't know what Milanismo is. Number two, I don't care what people say. He's been a fan of the club and he used to go to games. That's a bunch of BS. He doesn't even he can't even touch Maldini's impact at any level. Imagine, you have Ibra and Furlani going to the training sessions. You think most of these players they're gonna shake their hands, yeah, and they're like, I gotta shake Furlani's fucking hand again today. And you actually think these players, especially young, impressionable players, coming up, playing for a big club for the first time. Milan's a big club, maybe not today, but historically it is. And knowing that weight of that badge, and the players that came before you. And you have Furlani and Ibra trying to talk to you, try to give you some advice. Is that going to be impactful? Is that going to really change your direction, in terms of becoming a much more improving as a player and polishing your game? No. And I wish Baresi had taken over. Instead of Baresi being just collecting checks from the club and making appearances here and there, to events. I wish he would take a different role and actually take these players under their wing. Not to get on the field and show him moves. He might be. I don't know how well he moves nowadays, Baresi. To kind of have that same impact that Maldini had, but maybe he doesn't have that personality as well. I don't know. Because if he did, that would be very helpful for the club today. All right. If anybody else got any more comments, questions, here's your time. All right. Let me just do something really quick. Take this down. All right. Bam. All right. Listen. That's about it. That's all I got. All right. Everybody in the chat: Fadinho, Senior Green, Dr. B, Shane. All right. Thanks for tuning in, for locking in. Everybody else as well. Yeah, Shane. Quick thing. He's just there to collect a paycheck, man. Let's be real. He makes appearances. You know, some like he came to the United States and signed some autographs and stuff out in California. You know, he went to New York a few seasons ago. Right. Did something over there with the New York club. But let's be honest, I don't think he has it in him to be that kind of impactful, mentor to the team, to any of these players like Maldini was. He's just collecting a check at this point. I don't know what kind of financial situation he's in. I have no idea. One last thing from Senior Green. Honestly, we do have to do pretty good, and think Allegri can get us to top 4 next couple of years. Overall, that's good because it'll increase our chance of being bought by competent PPL. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see, Senior Green. Like I said, I covered Allegri yesterday. If you want to listen to that pod, it's up on our channel on YouTube. Kind of got into the whole thing with Allegri, and it's pretty much into his coaching staff, right? Their experience in Serie A and their strength as assistant coaches. You might want to check that out. And right, Shane, one last thing. He looks cheap now. Yeah, he's cheap in his I guess his image, right? Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? All right. Fadinho, I know he doesn't have authority, but it'd be nice for him to show up out to the training sessions and speak to these players, especially the young defenders. Speak to Chow. Speak to Gabbia as a former center back, and give him some tips. That's all. I don't know if he's even asked or he's even allowed to. Maybe they don't even allow him there on the training ground. I have no idea. But imagine having Baresi show up occasionally to the training sessions. And seeing what you're observing, how you're playing on the field, what you're doing, your movements, how you're set up, and walking over to you and like during the cooling session, like, hey, Gabbia, you might want to do this. Or Chow, you might want to do this to improve your game. Little things. That would be huge for these players. Huge. You might not be able to help Pavlov's beyond help. You can't improve that guy's game for nothing. Let's be real. That guy's in kill mode. He's in predator mode 100% of the time. Well, anyways, all right, Milan Nation. Thanks for locking in on this bonus pod. If you haven't done so, check out Lab's latest pod. It's on the channel as well. It's pre-recorded, really good episode. Check out Shane and Husney's latest pod that they just put out this morning. They kind of got into Husney's experience at one of the recent games. Some really cool pictures. Husney had a good time. All right, with the Asian Curva Sud, and yeah, my latest pod as well, mine from yesterday as well. All right, boys, Milan Nation, Forza, Real Milanismo, and until next time.